have the right to read someone else's WhatsApp messages? You better hope so, because that's what we'll be doing in the news for at least the next 2 months. And when I say read someone's WhatsApp messages, I don't mean leaning over someone's shoulder on the bus so you can see who they got off with on Friday night. Of course you're allowed to do that. How else are you meant to pass the time? I am, of course, referring to the Matt Hancock mess. Part 8 in a series of things you could call the Matt Hancock mess. The Telegraph is printing stories based on 100,000 messages they got their hands on. Who was the leak, the mole, the rat on the inside? It was someone called Matt Hancock. I always knew he couldn't be trusted. These leaked messages he gave to a journalist, Isabel Oakeshott. Now, while getting a book written for him. She was the ghostwriter, not an actual ghost, although he probably has been responsible for making some of those. Matt, for his part, thinks that we shouldn't be seeing these WhatsApp messages. First, he claimed that they'd been stolen, in the same way that your family members commit larceny at Christmas and birthdays. And then Matt claimed that we shouldn't pay attention to the details because the messages have been doctored. And if ever there's a man who doesn't do well with doctors. It's hard to feel sorry for Matt in general, but especially in this case. The journalist he worked with had previous. Isabel had convinced economist Vicky Price to go on record about taking her husband, MP Chris Huhne's, speeding points back in the day. It was good advice, apart from the 8-month jail term she got for it. She co-authored Call Me Dave, the book that made claims about David Cameron and a pig, which, as funny as that mental image is, there was no real evidence for it, no confessions, not even the pig squealed. But with all of that on a CV, Matt should have known. He probably should have handed her the messages while saying, now promise me you won't do an Isabel Oakeshott on this. The argument for publishing these is public interest. And a lot of times that's used wrongly. People say that a story about a footballer having an affair is in the public interest. I mean, no, it's not. It's a footballer. We just assume that they're having an affair. I had relatives in a care home during the pandemic, so as part of the public, I would like to know if I can trust the systems in place in our government. And the use of WhatsApp is a problem here as well. It's where politicians hide. WhatsApp messages have end-to-end encryption, and we all know what kind of end Matt Hancock is. He's the person who could eat a kangaroo's what's-it and the kangaroo feels sullied. But when a journalist files a Freedom of Information request, it can include WhatsApp messages, but how do you know which messages you're asking for? And if they magically get deleted, there's nothing that can be done about it. It's where they hide. So this tells us that the government is being run like a parents' WhatsApp group. Now, people worry that the Telegraph will spin these messages to fit their agenda. Yeah. They probably will. Of course they will. Because they're biased, like every newspaper. They'd all do it. Our job as a discerning reader is to try and spot the bias and adjust for it if you want to. But there's one man who can help. One man who can correct the bias. One man who could publish all of the messages so we know what really happened. One man that could free the information and shine a light on truth. What I'm saying is, we need Matt Hancock. And that's never gone badly before, has it?